Here we have the HMI screen for the robot. I'm going to quickly walk you through all of the screens as well as their functions, and then I'll go to the physical robot and quickly show you how to teach it a program. On the main screen you have a quick view of all the important parts of the robot. Programs, program properties, the speed of the robot, which you can change manually, and then your power, unlock robot, and activate teaching. Now, to activate teaching, you have to use a physical teach mode key, which then allows you to teach the robot. You have to activate it physically, and you get a nice little light up here on the LED. Then you can go to the robot and teach. But before I do that, I will show you the screens of the robot. When teaching the robot, the power of the robot has to be turned off, and this is just a safety reason. So every time you're using teach mode, power has to be turned off. If I turn on the power and turn the teach mode on, nothing happens. Just keep that in mind. With your main screen here, you're able to load programs. As you see here, I just loaded in a Collins program. You're also able then to see program properties. Just gives you a quick little view of what the program is like, time, teaching points, you can see here. Next screen is a manual screen. This is for your physical points for all your axes, as well as the carousel, the turn piece, and then you can also do some homing of things or movement of the robot manually. Next you'll have an alarm screen, which will obviously show you your alarms. Here we have the program screen. This is where you're able to edit programs, add photos to specific programs, and then also create sequences. Sequence is when you add 2 or more programs together to create a larger program, or in this case it's called a sequence. This is best used when you have to do a long teach, and instead of doing the entire teach perfectly, you can break it up into pieces. It makes it easier to fine-tune. When you're editing the program, you can create breaks in the program called separations, and this will allow you to specifically slow down or speed up points of the program to fit your needs. So you can have a fast start and a slow portion, or whatever you may need. And then lastly, you have a photo section here. This is where you can add an individual photo to the program to make it easier to understand what that program is doing. This is just your I/O screen, telling you inputs and outputs, pretty standard. Statistics, you can see how much you were using the program, spraying, all that. It can easily be exported into Excel. This is nice for people who have to keep track of how much usage and all those things. Parameters is the screen where you're able to fine-tune things for the robot. On the left here you can see you can fine-tune the turn piece to change it to either continuous spin or quarterly spin based on angle. You can also adjust the speed for the turning in general. On the right side here you can change your spray gun valves to atomizing air, flow, fan. This can be done on the fly while you're teaching a program or after the fact. And then this is for brushing, when you need to brush out your gun. And then this is where you can switch between carousel and step functions. And this is if you have a carousel and if you don't want to use the carousel. Lastly, you have your setup screen, and this brings you to a whole bunch of things throughout the robot that are kind of pre-configured for you. The general parts of the robot that you wouldn't really touch, things dealing with the motor, zeroing certain things. It's all here, but not something that you'd really be touching after installation. Lastly, you have kind of an info tab, which will have all your manuals in here. But again, this whole setup screen is more for either maintenance or for the manufacturer to set and for you to forget about. Now I'm going to show you how to teach the robot a program. The robot is unlocked, teach mode is on, and as you can see by this LED here, you're lit up and ready to go. Now I'm going to step inside the enclosure and show you on the robot. This is the joystick that you would be using to teach the robot. It has 4 buttons. This first button here, this black button, is used for spraying. This button here, the blue one, is used for spinning of your 8th axis, in this case it's a turntable. This red button here is for locking and unlocking the robot. And lastly, this green button is used for starting and stopping the teach mode. The joystick attaches easily to the robot here at the front with the set screw. Once it's attached in, you can unlock the robot and freely move it. It has a lot of reach, and you're able to freely move it around. Again, to illustrate the spray function, I will allow the air to come out. When I hit this black button, the robot will then spray. So when I hit this green button to start, you'll hear a beep. That means you're teaching. So now everything that I do, is now being taught to the robot, and it will remember for that program. I'll now take off the joystick, and we can go back to the robot. HMI. Now we're back at the HMI where we'll have to name the program that you just taught. I will name it test. Okay, now we'll have to turn off the teach mode. Simple as deactivating, switching off, and now you're good to go. We will now load the program. Again, you have all your properties here. And then we will give power to the robot, and we will start the program. Now it is ready to go once it sees a part. It's currently sitting idle, so we will index the part. And it will now recreate the program that I made up. It's a very basic program, but you get the gist. After doing one part, it would then go back to an idle position where you started the program and wait for the next part to come through. That is the Epistolio robot. Please feel free to reach out if you have any further questions.